After the 2022 midterms, there's a lot of noise being made by some Republicans under their breath, behind their hands, and hiding as they do, or else they've decided not to run for re-election, and so that gives them strength of character not to risk anything to speak against Donald Trump. There's a lot of noise being made by some Republicans that the Republican Party needs to get out from under the thumb of Donald Trump and strike forward with with John McCain Republicanism and get back to their roots and get away from these. This is not going to happen. The Republican Party is in fact possessed. There's a lot of parallels. The Republican Party was not just walking down the street, doing their best to do the right thing, trying to instill conservative policies and trying to fix problems with conservative ways. And then all of a sudden Donald Trump came in and stuck a gun to their head, and all of a sudden, clunk, they fell down with Donald Trump on top of them. No. The Republican Party after Newt Gingrich was asking, please, we would love to be associated with someone like Donald Trump. Newt Gingrich started the ball rolling, and Trump just went further with the ball in the same direction. It's not something where it just happens to the party unaware. Oops, can't believe it happened. No. It was what they wanted. It's the fast, cheap, simple, easy way to money and power. Confusion, division, lack of trust. Anyone who disagrees you is an enemy to the Republic and a quisling to whoever. To underground lizard people with ray guns from Mars that are going to make you magnetic. So, now, the Republican Party could get out of Donald Trump's thrall, but that would take sacrifice, huge sacrifice. The great majority of Republican leadership would have to eschew not only Donald Trump, but his loud, very loud, huge shadow-making constituency of, in my opinion, as the book of Acts says, lewd men of the baser sort, and women, that have been promised influence. Well, yes, it's for both Trump and for his followers, it's influence to destroy. But influence to destroy is influence, as many an adolescent has seen. If you want attention, well, bad attention, good attention, it's all attention. And so you get more attention by going out and stealing a car than you do by getting an A in algebra or geometry. So it would take huge sacrifice and many lost elections, particularly in the primaries, for Republicans to step out from under Donald Trump. But it's the same all over. Who's willing to make the sacrifice? Most Republican leadership in Congress has made the calculation that they cannot get through primaries without the support of the base that Donald Trump has suborned. And they may well be right. They might be wrong. But it takes a lot of character and a lot of courage. You have to be a very valiant man, valiant woman, and usually the women's are the first to be brave, to step out and say, hey, you know what? If I have to choose between spitting on my oath as a senator or a representative and not being a senator or a representative, then I will choose not to be one and to go down fighting. Not just say, well, you know what? I think I need to spend more time with my family. So I'm going to just not run again. And by the way, now that I'm not running, let me tell you why Donald Trump is bad for the party, now that I don't have to pay anything to do so. But the ability, the superpower, you might say, of Donald Trump is to destroy. That is always the superpower of evil, stealing, killing, and destroying. Always has been, through lies. And that is particularly true in the primaries. In the primaries, only Republicans vote for Republican nominees for the power to run for office. And not only that, but only the most committed. But people don't usually come out for primaries very much. The numbers are low. When the numbers are low, it increases the power of the people who are most committed to the party. And that is the MAGA Republicans, who are absolutely sure that Venezuela and Hugo Chavez has risen from the grave and gone to China and gotten bamboo ballots and got all these fuzzy-faced, furry mule people to go from one ballot box to the other with billions of bamboo ballots to... Anyway, these are the people who determine who the candidates are in many, many places. And these are the people that Donald Trump will set against anyone who speaks against him in the primaries. If you don't make it through the primaries, you don't get on the ballot for the Republican Party. And so, will Donald Trump be the nominee? Of course he will. Will he win? No, I don't think so. I guess there's some... He will get through. He and his candidates will get through any primary that they want to get through. A general truth that is generally true. But they will very often, maybe even usually, lose in the general election. People have seen that Donald Trump will quickly cut both ways. And the fact that he is willing to cheat for you to win an election means that he has no problem. He has no honor insofar as cutting you down when you ever take a step that's not in lockstep with him. And that's a price that a lot of voters are really unwilling to pay. They're unwilling to sell their souls in that manner. Now, Republicans have repeatedly won the presidency while losing in the popular vote. They get a minority of the votes and they win. And that is because large swaths of the land of the country has a little bit more power per vote to elect the president than large cities do. The framers of the Constitution decided that small states or less populous states should have a little bit more influence just by virtue of them being states. And so Democrats need to be better at taking that into account. Now, there's many, many things different this time than 2016. I think Russia is a little bit more distracted with the war in Ukraine. I may be wrong. They may really pull out all the stops for a Trump candidacy for president simply because of the war in Ukraine. And they know that if he can be elected, then the assistance given to Ukraine will be greatly diminished. Republicans are already making noise that they want to stop supporting Ukraine because they suck up to Putin, because they suck up to Trump. And Trump loves Putin. Dear friend, I think that goes beyond just because Putin supports him, therefore Donald Trump loves him. I think it goes further that Donald Trump knows that Putin has a great deal of goods on him, in my opinion, through money laundering, through large real estate transactions in New York and up and down the East Coast. And Putin knows he has the goods on Donald Trump, and he thinks that's going to influence him to be his man, his Manchurian candidate in Washington. But that may not be the case. But more than that, he's not running against Hillary Clinton He's running against an incumbent president that knows who Donald Trump is. Last time when Trump ran in 2016 and he solicited help from Russia, if you're listening, please help me win this election. At that point, Obama seemed reticent to send the Department of Justice in and say, by the way, that's illegal. Let's do the perp walk. Now, I do not know whether the Department of Justice is going to find its courage. The man they have now as independent counsel, I love the face on that guy. The face on that guy doesn't look like a what do you call it? A man who sits at a desk and makes calculated decisions. He looks like the kind of guy that maybe you wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. And I think that's the only kind of face at this point that Republicans seeking violence would respect. I think it was Steve Bannon said during the Robert Mueller investigation, he said, never send a Marine to do a hitman's job. And this man looks like he's ready to get the job done. I don't know. I think that just shows in his face he's an ugly individual. In general, that's the kind of person I'd want to send to find out the crimes of Donald Trump and to hold him accountable. So in all of these ways, Donald Trump he's not running against Hillary Clinton. He's running against an incumbent who's got his number, Twitter, of course, has Trump back on. That's no surprise. Elon Musk will do anything for Donald Trump. And Elon Musk is absolutely bound and determined to run Twitter into the ground. That's apparently just something he wants to do. Maybe then he can declare bankruptcy, get out of his obligations, and I don't know how these things work. But it seems he's very, very committed to destroying Twitter. So everybody will go over to Mastodon, apparently. I've never twitted, so I don't know about these things, about Twitter specifically, but I do see that Elon Musk is determined to drive it into the ground. And so, of course, he's going to get Donald Trump back on because there's a certain wedge of society that would come to Twitter in that case with Donald Trump on. But I do not think he will win. There's so many differences between then and now. He did effectively lose a lot of the midterm races for Republicans. He doesn't have the support of Republican leadership the way he used to, but Donald Trump doesn't care about that. He will, though, get the nomination because it would be suicide for the Republican Party not to give him the nomination. I mean, parties don't have to take into account the vote of whether a person wins, so to speak, the popular vote for the nomination. The Republican Party could put up anyone else. There's no law that says primaries have to work this way and candidates have to be chosen in this manner, but it would be suicide to do otherwise. I think they'd rather have Trump than not have a Republican candidate, and that's clear enough. He will run, he will be nominated, and I do not think he will win. Times they are a-changing, and between now and the next presidential election, the president who appoints the persons under him in the Department of Justice will use the Department of Justice as a means for political gain. He will let them find out that, Donald Trump broke the law here and 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 here, and will allow indictments to go through. In our country, people cheer the bad guy who, is running from the law. Oh my goodness, Clyde Barrows and Bonnie they're running and boy, I'll tell you what, how far will they get? And it's really cool. Oh my goodness. But when as soon as the person does the perp walk, as soon as they are in custody, everything changes. All of a sudden they are losers. and everybody turns on them. The second that Donald Trump is taken into custody, it'll be all over for him insofar as his political career. Is that going to happen? It's the same the whole world over. It's a crying shame. The rich are protected and the poor get the blame. I held out small hope. Everyone looks after their own rear end and tries to save their own career. But if anybody's going to do it, it's this new, ugly, mean-looking independent counsel, independent prosecutor that could get the job done.